I saw this TikTok the other day of this girl saying her life sucks because she lives in the middle of nowhere and has never gotten lucky or found any overnight success because she refuses to sell her soul. So let's talk about people who do this. Does this result in a loyal fan base and long-lasting success, or does it just give you 5 seconds of infamy? Let's dive in. So let's start with the woman of the hour, Lael. She guilts you into pre-saving her song for a variety of reasons. She's from the middle of nowhere. She's never gotten lucky or found any overnight success because she refuses to sell her soul. Her best friend ended up being her worst enemy. So even if this were all true, which we'll get to in a moment, to post this saying your life sucks in contrast with everything going on in the news right now seems a little insensitive, not really gonna make me want to be stoked to stream your music. This guilt tactic won't work for most sensible people. People aren't going to feel bad for you, maybe unless they're under the age of 12. But on top of all that, pretty much everything she's complaining about is just false. First, let's start with from the middle of nowhere. After doing some research, found that Lael is from Canada, and she used to be a pretty big YouTuber, and even though a lot of her old videos are down now, she's left a pretty big social footprint given that she had amassed 1 million subscribers. Specifically in Canada, she is from British Columbia. Even more specifically, she is from the Vancouver area. And I found this through her powerlifting stats online. Vancouver, if you didn't know, is one of the biggest cities in all of Canada. I wouldn't really call that the middle of nowhere. It's like top 3 cities. This brings us to never gotten lucky or had any overnight success. If you're from British Columbia, the cost of living is generally high. I don't know specifically what town she's from. I don't want to make any assumptions about her family or anything. But if you scroll down her page, you'll see some pretty interesting videos that showcase how well off she is. For example, this one. Take a look at this robot arm camera she got to film her music video as an independent artist because she refuses to sell her soul. This is a similar camera to the one that Kendrick Lamar used to film the Humble music video, which is specifically the Bolt high-speed Cinebot. Not saying that the one Lael used is that exact camera, but it is a similar one. So in Toronto, to rent something like this, let's look at the prices, and let's not even account for tax. Shoot day, $3,850. Prep day, $2,000. Operator, $1,000 a day. Assistant, $580 a day. Say she just filmed for 1 day. That brings us to the grand total, $7,430. And if this is in Canadian dollars, to translate this to American dollars, that's still $5,891.14. This doesn't even account for, the other crew that are on the set, like the production designers and the lighting team that are clearly involved. Independent artists, it's pretty impressive you got that kind of budget, but you're really unlucky though. You're really unlucky. This brings us to Exhibit B. Get a load of this video. Do I even need to explain how much this costs? She got a machine to throw a bed around on a train track. Clearly she's either lucky enough or found enough success to be able to afford all of this, unless she's a trust fund baby. Then in that case, that definitely just falls under the lucky category. But she has 1 million subs on YouTube, like I'd mentioned before, and I think that's definitely success. I mean, maybe it's not overnight success. I don't know how long it took her to get to that number, but it's something to be grateful for, you would think. You would. Now this brings us to the claim that she refuses to sell her soul. She refuses to sell her soul, but her entire profile is her begging you to stream her music and nothing else. How is that any better than signing to a major label? If signing to a major label is selling your soul, then Lael is just giving it up. Now let's talk about the whole best friend thing. So I don't have any evidence to prove if this is true or false. I don't know how it is in Canada. Maybe people talk like this, but to me, this just reads like a really, really bad horror story that you would find on the Hooked app, written by a 40-year-old. This looks like someone who's trying to impersonate how a teenager talks. What I find the most interesting about this whole part of the story about her complaining about her best friend is that she is a 24-year-old woman. and she is acting like a middle schooler. But after all that, there are still people that support her because she got almost 25,000 pre-saves on her song. Her video is almost at 10 million views, and her worst performing song on Spotify has 80,000 streams, and it's probably above that by the time you watch this video. As for the song she's promoting in the video that we speak of, we'll get to that towards the end, so stick around. Could the existing streams be from people who knew her on YouTube? Probably. It's hard to say if this will result in long-lasting success because this video is so new and she already has a following from the 1 million subscribers she had on YouTube. But as for her comment section, I have not seen a more despised artist on TikTok. Maybe since the guy who made that Margot Mango song. But Lael made an incredibly out-of-touch video that clearly pissed off a lot of people. We'll see if she'll be able to save her reputation or if this actually results in success. We'll circle back to Lael. Let's move on. Now, this isn't just a tactic that independent artists use. Believe it or not, some of the biggest names in music have used this tactic, which brings me to Justin Bieber. When Yummy first came out, Justin Bieber posted a variety of graphics which were intricate instructions for how to get his song to top the charts on each individual streaming service. And it would be one thing if Justin was like, oh, stream the song on repeat. But no, let's dive into some of the instructions that were laid out in Justin's little infographic. Create a Spotify playlist with Yummy and let it play on repeat while you sleep, not on mute, on low volume. Buy the song on iTunes and multiple times on Bieber's website. Link to the YouTube video instead of reposting it. He even goes as far to say to use a VPN for streaming if you're not in the US, since Billboard charts only count streams marked as coming from a US IP address. Fan campaigns to manipulate stream counts are common among big artists. Like you'll see people who are Harry Styles stans and BTS stans giving instructions on how to get their favorite artist to top the charts. But do you see Harry Styles and BTS posting instructions on how to get their songs to top the charts in really slimy ways? You don't. Like, you just don't. They don't do that because it's unethical. And apparently Billboard actually has mechanisms in place to weed out these fake streams. And several of the biggest labels and streaming providers have actively fought against these practices, calling it unethical. It distorts the media's impressions of the genuine support and popularity of the song by taking advantage of these algorithms. And if you're Justin Bieber, you shouldn't have to resort to this. You have enough of a loyal fan base that if you come out with a good song, you're definitely gonna get enough streams to be able to sustain yourself. The fact that one of the world's biggest, most well-known artists has to beg people online to make it look like his song is more liked than it actually is sad and not right. And this doesn't really use the whole "my life sucks" tactic, but it still comes off as super desperate. And I get it. The music industry is so oversaturated with so many artists. But literally, if you are Justin Bieber, people know who you are. People won't have a problem finding your music. And I know I sound a little cwanky in this video, I guess, but it just pisses me off, you know? Like, if you have the ability to pursue music full time, especially if you're an independent, not super well-known artist, you're clearly well off, whether it's financially or you have a lot of connections, which if you made those connections yourself, good for you. Like, that's impressive. But if you have the financial room to make that type of investment in your career, it seems ungrateful when you complain about that privilege and, make it seem like that's not enough to satisfy you. So many independent artists can't do music full time. They have to balance work with making music. And if you feel like you have to guilt people into listening to you, even though you have the resources to be able to try to pursue this full time, then why are you doing it if you're not confident enough in your product that you think it'll speak for itself? Like, complaining about having the ability to do that comes off as super ungrateful, super out of touch, and privileged. So this brings us to the question, does this tactic work? Let's start with Lael. My life is boring. It has been out now for 1 day. Let's check the Spotify stats. So after one day of being out, after getting almost 25,000 pre-saves, this song has gotten a total of 9,605 streams on Spotify. Pretty impressive for one day. So her music video has 37,000 views at the time of us watching this. It's been about 24 hours of the song being out. Pretty effective for this one song. But if we're gonna see if this resulted in a loyal fan base, let's look at her social media engagement rate. Let's start at the 9.6 million view video. 1.4 million likes. Got a lot of views, got a lot of likes, but most of the comments are, you know, pretty mean, basically saying what I already said in this video. So this video, 540,000 views. Who knows if people watched it more than once, but the amount of likes it got is 14,000 likes. So 14,000 out of the 540,000 liked the video. This video, 253,000 views. Almost 6,000 likes. You're probably wondering, why so many views but so little likes? Well, if I were to make a guess, I would say a lot of people probably saw her initial video that blew up, went to see her page to see what else she posts, and didn't like any of her other videos. But then you look at this one, 279,000 views and 21,000 likes. But in this video, all she does is say her name, it's her birthday, she came out with this song, it would mean a lot if you listen to it. I don't know. I think that's a much better way to go about promoting your song. Justin Bieber already had a massive following before the whole Yummy thing that he did, so it's hard to really say if that resulted in people not wanting to be his fans anymore, but he did get a lot of backlash for doing something unethical. So the point I'm trying to make is that all of the artists I've talked about in this video clearly have the resources to make a really fruitful music career for themselves. So none of these artists should have to guilt people into listening to their music. Yeah, it'll probably result in high numbers at first, both from people falling for the guilt trip or hate watching the video. But if this is the tactic you rely on to promote your music, it seems like the viewership doesn't go past a couple viral videos of you complaining. In such an oversaturated industry, guilting people into feeling bad for you for being able to pursue your dreams is not going to catapult you to Billie Eilish level of fame. And to clarify, there's nothing wrong with posting about your song a million times so that people see it. But there's a difference between posting about your song a bunch to try to show it to people and posting about your song a bunch to try to guilt people into feeling bad that they didn't already see your song. What do you want me to talk about next? Leave a comment. What do you think? Have you seen any of these videos? What do you think of this? Let's freaking talk about it. And while you're at it, like this video. If you don't like it, my life freaking sucks. And if you don't like this YouTube video and subscribe to SongPsych, then my best friend turned out to be my worst friend. And he's right.